and welcome to another episode of Mox Mix. I'm your host, Rachel McIntyre Smith, and I'm in the studio right now with this episode's local spotlight, Scott Parker. Scott Parker is from Oliver Springs, Tennessee. He recently, at the Smoky Mountain Songwriters Festival of 2018, won first place gospel for his song Never Too Broken, first place folk for his song Little Burger Shop, and overall audience favorite for his song Never Too Broken. Also, at the Inspirational Country Music Association Awards at 2019, he won Inspirational Song of the Year for This Side of Sunday, which is recorded by Brent Harrison, and it was performed at the Grand Ole Opry. Scott has recently released his newest and first solo project, Holdin On. In the past, he has released stuff with his wife, Becky Parker, and he's here to just talk to us about his history with songwriting and his newest projects. So welcome, Scott, to the show.
Well, thank you for having me. It's great to be here.
Thanks for coming on. So Scott, just start off by telling everybody kind of how you got into music and how you started doing what you're doing.
Yes, so grew up locally and was exposed to music in church and then in the home. My parents weren't like always playing music, but they had a pretty good record collection, right? Which got me into music. I had like a great uncle that I didn't know pass away, and he had a big record collection, and somehow nobody else wanted it, right? And so I'm like, yeah, I'll take that. And like these were like records, like, you know, vinyl records, right? And like 78s even, like old stuff. I was probably about 11 or 12 when that happened, and like, you know, kind of at the age where like you really are starting to get into music and being influenced by music. So anyways, I inherited this record collection, and I guess I would consider myself an old soul because I've always liked older music. I've always liked older movies. Like I have tons of old movies in my closet at home. Lots of old records and stuff like that. So yeah, so I got into stuff like Ray Charles, right? Mm-hmm. Like there's this guy Louis Jordan who was like pre-rock and roll, like jump jive blues, like really good stuff. Like, and so like when all my friends were listening to boy bands and hip hop, I was listening to this other stuff. And it's funny, like if you listen to like some of my other projects I've done with my wife, like I mostly write a lot of country, slightly contemporary Christian, folky Christian stuff. Like I don't know how to play the blues, right? I don't know how to play rhythm and blues. Like I'm not versatile like that. But that stuff definitely had a big influence on me and what I prefer. Like if I'm going to go to a desert island and I need to pick 5 artists, I'm going to take Ray Charles, Elvis Presley, the Beatles, probably the Beach Boys, and maybe Paul Simon.
Yeah, you gotta have the Beach Boys if you're on a deserted island.
Well, that would be it's gonna make the time pass really well.
So what song do you want to play first for the listeners?
Okay, so I mentioned some of those influences there. This project came about, like I said, if you listen to some of my other stuff, it's more contemporary stuff. This is like a throwback album. I call it an influences album. I mean, everybody's influenced, right? Like Justin Timberlake is obviously influenced by Michael Jackson, but he's not trying to make Thriller. This album I'm literally trying to make songs that sound like the 60s and 70s. So this first song is called Trying to Find It, and it's my Beatles song. I watched this George Harrison documentary, and when I got done watching it, these phrases kind of started popping in my head, and I wrote them down, and it kind of sounded like Mystic George, right? Like some of the stuff he would say, and I'm like, this sounds like something like that would have kind of fallen in between Sgt. Pepper and the White Album. Like he just got back from India, and so I didn't intend to like make it be a whole project, but after I wrote the song and I started making a demo of it, I was like, oh, this is a lot of fun. So this is the first song that I wrote for the project called Trying to Find It.
Okay, so here, folks, this is Trying to Find It by Scott Parker. You're listening to Mox Mix with Rachel McIntyre Smith on WUTC 88.1.
Play stupid games, get stupid prizes. I played so much least I wanna know him. If love is real, I wanna show it. Nothing else awakes the sleeping part of my heart. Gonna seek the truth like a poet. The smallest spark is still a fire. Gonna let it go till it gets much higher. When light is absent, only darkness remains. Burning bright is my desire. You wanna get something out of this life. Put something in it, and baby, don't think twice. If this is all there is, I could understand it. It's all quick, convenient, and over-branded. But if happiness is what's in front of me, why are we so empty-handed? Just look around. So many faces, so many names. We're all different, which makes us the same. Let's spend our days trying to find it. Gonna spend my days trying to find it.
You just listened to Trying to Find It by Scott Parker, and he is joining me here in the studio right now. So Scott, how long have you been playing music? You talked about your influences, but how long have you actually been playing and writing music?
Yeah, I've been playing guitar since I was about 13. And even though it's been quite a while since I was 13, I still consider myself a campfire guitarist. I just play chords. I don't really do lead. But I've been playing that long and writing since I was in high school, basically. Once I started enjoying music, then I started analyzing, like, oh, certain songs sound different ways because of different places they were recorded and who produced it and all this. I really got into the whole background of the music industry. Ended up going to college at Belmont University in Nashville and going into the music business and working in publishing. And for some reason, it never really crossed my mind that, oh, people write songs, right? Like, I just enjoyed the music and the production and the sound, but never really analyzed the craft. So in college and out of college, was exposed to a lot of just wonderful songwriters and started my hand at it. Didn't really write anything decent. Took a break from it, and then honestly, God just put something in my heart about 10 years ago where I picked it back up again, and I've been writing fervently ever since.
What was the first song that you were like, okay, this isn't trash?
Okay, this isn't trash? Oh, golly. That's a good question. As a songwriter, you're always your biggest critic, right? And we have the worst self-esteem, so that's a hard question. There was a song I wrote in college called Angel I wrote on piano, and I don't play piano, but it had a really nice melody, and when I played it for some people besides just my mom, they were like, this is really nice. So I'd say probably that.
Yeah, usually I feel like other people's moms are nice, but my mom is also my worst critic. So if I play her a song, then she's going to be like, no, that's trash. like. So I feel like if it passes the mom
Okay,
test
that's
for
good.
me,
So different mom,
then-
yeah, she might be a higher barometer. Like man, if mom liked it, this could be something big.
Okay, so this next song that you want to play, tell us about it.
Okay, so after I wrote the Beatles song, shortly thereafter, I've already mentioned the Beach Boys, but last summer they had a channel on Sirius XM, the Beatles channel, right? And one day I was listening to it, and they came on right before they played a song, and they're like, "You're listening to the Beach Boys channel on Sirius XM, where the only thing better than a weekend is a weekend in the summertime." And then they played their song, and I was like, "Ooh, that sounds like a good Beach Boys title." They hadn't written it yet, right? So, in the small town I live in, like the bigger town away is Oak Ridge, it's like 10 minutes, right? Drive up the hill. By the time I got to the top of the hill, I already had the chorus written. And by the time I got back down after running my errand, I had the verses written. Came in, got my guitar, wrote a bridge. It was done in like an hour. So once I did that and made the track for it, I was like, okay, I see where this is going. I'm gonna make an influences record. So I'm gonna use these as my building blocks. And like, sometimes you listen to your song and you're like, oh, that kind of sounds like this or this. I expect people when they hear this to go, oh, that doesn't just seem like it's influenced by, that sounds like the Beach Boys. Like, I'm not the Beach Boys. I can't sing like them, but like the track, if you listen to Brian Wilson's production, it's a Beach Boys track. So this song is called Weekend in the Summertime, and it kicks off the album.
Okay, so here, folks, this is Weekend in the Summertime by Scott Parker. You're listening to Mox Mix with Rachel McIntyre Smith on WUTC 88.1.
Mondays are the worst days, Tuesdays just as wrong. I'm working hard on Wednesday, trying to get through this job. Thursday feeling okay, 'cause I can see the end in sight. Then I'll be Friday free, I'm off at 3, ready to hold you tight. The only thing better than a weekend is a weekend in the summertime. Just you and me, nowhere to be but the beach with the sweet sunshine. It's a long way till Monday, and we're loving the laid-back life. The only thing better than a weekend is a weekend in the summertime. I've been waiting all week to feel your lips on mine, soak in that cool water while the world just floats on by. Chill by the grill, good friends, cherry cola in a snow cone cup. When one day ends, we'll do it again when the sun comes smiling up. The only thing better than a weekend is a weekend in the summertime. Just you and me, nowhere to be but the beach with the sweet sunshine. It's a long way till Monday, and we're loving the laid-back life. The only thing better than a weekend is a weekend in the summertime with you. Makes all things right. Every 5 days get away, find a happy place to play and celebrate day and night. Where the only thing better than a weekend is a weekend in the summertime. Just you and me, nowhere to be but the beach with the sweet sunshine. It's a long way till Monday, and we're loving the laid-back life. The only thing better than a weekend is a weekend in the summertime. The only thing better than a weekend is a weekend in the summertime.
You just listened to Weekend in the Summertime by Scott Parker, and he's tonight's local spotlight, and he joins me in the studio right now. So now he's going to talk a little bit about his songwriting process. Where do you start whenever you're writing a song, Scott?
Yeah, so I've always considered myself more of a melody guy, but I do probably 60% solo writing, 40% co-writing with other people. For me, the process usually is I'll overhear a phrase somebody says, or I'll read something. Occasionally an idea will just pop in my head that I don't know where it came from. When that happens, sometimes there's a melody associated with it. I'll quickly grab my phone and jot down a little musical, thing so I don't forget it. So that's where it starts. It's typically a chorus. It'll be like the idea will be the hook of the chorus or the start of the chorus. So I'll typically, once I can be in front of a guitar or piano, I'll come up with my chorus and then obviously try to write the verses towards that. When I write with other people, I write a lot on Skype with some people that aren't in town near me, and sometimes they'll have a really good idea, but a lot of times it is the chorus that you build first. I'm always trying to write something that's catchy, and that fits the words, something that marries it together.
How do you get through writer's block?
Oh, golly, that's a good question. I have found as I've written more, the longer I have written, it is good for me to take a step back. If I'm literally hammering out on a song and I've got like a verse chorus and I can't figure out where to go, or I've got like a half a verse, I don't spend a lot of time to try to figure it out. I'll go work on another song, or I'll go watch a movie, or I'll go play with the kids, or I'll just stop writing that day. And I find that when I come back to it, a lot of times it's real obvious, oh, that's not working because the verse before doesn't work, or, whatever. When I write with some other folks, invariably one of us will like get up and go grab a cup of coffee, and like while you're walking around, like you're not using your brain, that's when I found that that's when something will happen. It's interesting how the creative process works, I think.
What is the main way that you draw inspiration? What's the main thing that you draw inspiration from?
A couple things. Music, like just being completely immersed in music. I know when I worked in Nashville, I had some writers I worked with that they would not listen to the radio on the way into work because they found that they would start writing the songs that they heard on the way in. I'm not really like that. My wife would tell you that I've always got some kind of noise. I mean, it's in the car, it's in my earpods. It's like I'm always listening. When I was in high school and stuff, back when I was in high school, it was before the internet music thing, where like anybody now can pull up. You find a song you like, you're like, oh, I can listen to their entire catalog right now. I can download the whole thing in minutes, right? Well, it wasn't like that for me. If I had a favorite artist that was current, they only put an album out every 2 years. So, what were you going to do? Luckily, I was into old music, so I could go to the library and check out every CD they had and just completely just devour music. So I get inspiration from hearing music, and I'll go through albums and find songs I love, and I'll kind of star them and earmark them. The other thing is I get inspiration from God, from my Creator. I'm a Christian. Try to have a good relationship with Jesus, and I want to make Him known to others. And so I find a lot of inspiration from the Bible, from preachers I hear, from conversations I have with other people about their relationship with God. And a lot of times I will get ideas from those things. God works in all those ways to speak to us, and I think He's still speaking to us, and that we can use music to get that message out.
So, No One Has Loved Me Like Jesus, the next song that we're going to play, is one of your gospel-inspired tracks. Could you tell us about that?
Yeah, definitely. So I talked earlier, and I don't know if I talked much about it, but one of my big influences was Elvis. He was my gateway drug to other artists, right? Because once there's Elvis, it's like, who was active when he was active? Oh, Chuck Berry, Jerry Lee Lewis. Oh, And then, of course, he had a 25-year career, and that opened the door to lots of musical stuff. But a lot of people don't know his only Grammys he ever got were for gospel music. And so he had 3 Grammys, and they were just for gospel.
Wow.
Yeah. Never
I
had
had
another
no
one.
idea.
Yeah, completely. He also, the year Sgt. Pepper came out, How Great Thou Art, his album, got the Grammy for Best Engineered Album. It beat Sgt. Pepper for Best Engineered Album. Anyways, I write a lot of contemporary Christian music and contemporary country Christian music. This song, No One Has Loved Me Like Jesus, is supposed to emulate an Elvis gospel sounding song. Mm-hmm. So it's supposed to sound more like a Southern gospel type of song he would have done, which is funny. I've never really written anything like it before, and it came together really quick once I had the idea.
So where did you start with? What was the first thing you had the idea for this song?
This song, the melody came first. I literally was just in the shower singing one day, and I was like, oh, that sounds like an Elvis melody. I was like, oh, that sounds like an Elvis gospel melody. So I literally, like, that phrase just popped in my mind, that no one has loved me like Jesus, and I'm like, how would Elvis sing this, right? So, and then the verses came really, really quick. It was just like, and it's kind of like, if you listen to the words on this, as if he was singing it. I mean, he's gone, he's left us, right? But he's talking about if tomorrow all of this was over, like all of this fame was over, and what was left was just me, I would know that I have salvation. And so that's kind of how it came about.
All right, well, here is No One Has Loved Me Like Jesus by Scott Parker. You're listening to Mox Mix with Rachel McIntyre Smith on WUTC 88.1.
Tomorrow all of this was over, and what was left was a man all alone. I'd be grateful for what I'd been given, and that I'd found the less traveled road. I've been broken and lower than my footsteps, and I've been higher than mountains of gold. But no matter what this world has promised, there's someone who will welcome me home. Loved me like Jesus. He's my brother, my Savior and friend. Oh, no one has loved me like Jesus, and I've loved no one else like him. When I stumble, He's there to surround me, and forgives when I think I know best. He even died at a place called Golgotha, so I could live beyond eternity's rest. Oh, no one has loved me like Jesus. He's my brother, my Savior and friend. Oh, no one has loved me like Jesus, and I've loved no one else like him. Love me like Jesus, and I've loved no one else like him.
You just listened to No One Has Loved Me Like Jesus by Scott Parker. He's tonight's local spotlight, and he joins me in the studio right now. We've already talked a lot about his inspirations, his songwriting process. Scott is also really involved with the Smoky Mountain Songwriters Festival and some other great outlets for songwriters in East Tennessee. So, Scott, could you tell us kind of about how songwriters could get their music out, or any tips you have for songwriters?
For sure. There's an organization based out of Nashville You don't have to be a country writer to be a part of this organization, but it's the Nashville Songwriters Association International, NSAI. That's a mouthful. It is a great group for you to get real feedback on your music. It's not expensive. It's maybe $150 or $200 a year to join it. You're allowed X amount of submissions to them. Someone that's in the industry will listen to them and evaluate your songs and give you honest feedback. You even get to choose, like, okay, I don't have very thick skin, be gentle, right? Or you can choose, I'm tough, tell me the truth, right? Like, they have options for that. So they give you real feedback on your songs. Because every songwriter wants to make other people feel something, but they want to do it. They want to write good songs. Some people are going to be the type of people that write stuff that it's really for family and friends, and no one's really going to hear. They don't really want to get it out, or they don't care if they get it out. Others, you're going to want to write at a more professional level. Groups like that. Also, these festivals that are held all around the country are great ways because most of them have song competitions. You pay them a little bit of money to put the songs in. It helps them run the festival. But again, they have industry judges come, and if you make the cut, you get to play the song live. And the Smoky Mountain Songwriter Festival they're going on their 8th year this year. I've been very fortunate to be involved in the competition every year. I've had some kind of song placed, whether I wrote by myself or with somebody else. And, they have cash prizes, and you get recognition. The best thing from it is you get to meet other writers. So the song that last year won audience favorite, I wrote with a guy that I met at the festival the previous year who was in the competition that I never would have met because he lives in Idaho. Okay? So it was a really cool thing, like a year later, to be able to be like, oh, this happened because this happened, right? Because this festival exists. If the festival didn't exist, I wouldn't have met him.
Tell us about this song.
So this was a solo write. Actually, I had my electric plugged in one day. It was just kind of playing something that sounded a little more bluesy rock, and that's how that melody came. And I honestly don't know how I got to that hook. I don't think I had the hook before I started writing the song, but that just seemed like that would be a good way to wrap it up. And then it kind of just became fun. This song was also in the Smoky Mountain Songwriter Festival a few years ago in the rock category, which is interesting because I'm not really a rock and roll guy, but it won first place in the rock category. What I'm not going to tell our listeners is that the other guys got eliminated. They got disqualified. But nevertheless, oops, I said it. Oh, well. But yeah.
Okay, here is When I Breathe by Scott Parker. You're listening to Mox Mix with Rachel McIntyre Smith on WUTC 88.1.
Hardly believe when you packed your bag and headed straight for the coast. You drove off and laughed at me, baby, swearing I would never survive. You probably thought that I'd go crazy. Well, I've never been more satisfied. It ain't no big deal. I got a heart of stone. Yeah, I'm doing better on my own. My world is brighter. I wish you could see that it only hurts when I breathe. Try to tell me that forever don't look good on you. Nothing ever beat your sweet kiss or the way your eyes met mine. And if I had to pick one thing I miss, well, it's the way you made me feel inside. But it ain't no big deal. I got a heart of stone.
So like I mentioned earlier, Scott is really active in the Smoky Mountain Songwriters Festival, and in 2018, he won first place gospel for his song Never Too Broken. We're going to play that just in a moment, but first I just want to hear Scott, kind of talk about this song. So just tell us about it.
Yeah, so very personal song for me. I wrote it with a guy named Matt Marsh, and he and I actually met at the festival. And we were co-writing several songs at the same time, and this one kind of stood out. But it's a song that says that you're not ever in a place that God is not trying to meet you at.
Oh, so you want, okay.
And that's a message that everybody needs to hear.
So here is Never Too Broken by Scott Parker. You're listening to Mox Mix with Rachel McIntyre Smith on WUTC 88.1.
If he loved you when he made you, then he loves you when you're afraid that you can't ever be good enough. If your life has been stained by the choices you've made, and you feel like you'll never get up, well, it's okay to cry when it seems like the night will never end. You're never too broken, you're never too far for the God of redemption to meet you right where you are. He'll put back the pieces of your shattered heart. You can run to his arms any moment. You're never too broken. If you're telling yourself that there's nothing else but sorrow and shame to be found, it's been too many years. You're wasting your tears. Who you are is who you'll wind up in the ground. Well, now is the time to forget all the lies the enemies fed you. 'Cause you're never too broken, you're never too far for the God of redemption to meet you right where you are. He'll put back the pieces of your shattered heart. You can run to his arms any moment. You're never too broken. You can still turn around. His grace abounds, so reach out your hand. Broken parts he will fix. He promised us this new life can begin. Oh, you're never too broken. You're never too far for the God of redemption to meet you right where you are. He'll put back the pieces of your shattered heart. You can run to his arms any moment. You're never too broken. Yes, you can run to his arms this moment. You're never too broken.